morning and welcome to all of you Thomas the Tank fans. The purpose of this video is to try and make it easier for you to decide what Thomas the Tank trains or collections you would like to buy and make. Now I believe that there are only 4 questions to ask yourself initially. The first one is, are you prepared for the expense of batteries? Then, providing you are, do you want all of your trains to talk? Do you want your trains to move on their own? And do you want your trains to interact with each other? Now I'm going to try and answer all of those questions with the experience that I have with Thomas the Tank. Now if I get anything wrong, I'll apologise already, and if you know more than me, please leave your comments in the comment section below. Most importantly, please subscribe because that helps me no end, and please leave a like because that helps me even more. Now in front of you I've got 5 different Thomas the Tank trains. Now to make this easier, I'm going to move 4 of them to the back and we're going to discuss the first one on its own. Now these trains have a pro and con to each one of the 5 different types I'm trying to introduce to you. Now this is just a standard non-talking version of Thomas the Tank. Now the main advantage of this train is they're quite small and they're easy for young children to be able to pick up. They're made from a very durable plastic, and anything that was made, in my opinion, between 1998 and 2010 is made from the most durable plastic and therefore would be safer for a younger child. Now they are prone, all of them are prone to having the rears and the front sole bars snapping off. Now obviously if they do snap off, you could get yourself a bit of wire wool and just rub it down to smooth it off, or you could use a soldering iron to melt it nice and smooth, or sadly you could just replace the train. Now the biggest advantage to these non-talking variety is they have a massive collection. Now I believe there are over 40 of these, all different types, and they're all real good representations of Thomas the Tank, other than, in my opinion, Toby number 7. Toby number 7 looks nothing like the character in the film or the TV episodes. Now Golden Bear do rectify that, but it takes them until 2010 to make a better looking Toby. Now the downside to these trains is your child's imagination, or the adult playing with them is going to have a good imagination to create the voices of the characters, because no matter what you do, because they have no batteries, they make no sounds at all. Right, I'm going to introduce you to the next type of train in the hope of answering question number 2. Now between 2000 and 2010, Golden Bear made talking versions of a number of the trains. Now I've seen about 20, so they don't make all of them in the talking variety, but they make about 20. They make the first 6, so that's Thomas, Edward, Henry, James and Percy, and I forgot Gordon. They don't make Toby, so number 7. Duck, number 8. They don't make Donald and Douglas, number 9 and 10. However, they did make Oliver, number 11. Now if you watch my channel, you'll see all of the trains over the coming videos, so you'll see exactly who you can and who you can't get. Now again, these are made from a really nice durable plastic, but they are prone, as you can see with this one's had an impact mark on the rear. They are prone to snapping here, just like the smaller variety. Now the one downside to these trains is they are larger, so they're more difficult for a younger child to hold. But the advantage, and this is the real advantage, is you need less imagination to play with these trains, because the eyes move, they make noises when you move them backwards and forwards, and beautifully press their operating button. In this case it's Thomas's boiler, and they talk. Now I believe that they sound like Ringo Starr from series 1 and 2, but I may well be mistaken. So that's the second variety. Now the downside to this is you have two AA batteries. An upside is you can turn Thomas off, so that when you store him you could leave the batteries in and he won't make any sounds. Now the downside to that is you may well forget that you've got batteries, and if you do, they will corrode and could destroy your train. Another downside to these trains is the speakers are prone to wear and tear. Although you can't see them on the outside, moisture in the air attacks the copper components of the speaker, and over time they stop talking. You could replace the speaker, you can find them, but it's not that easy. You're going to need minor skills on soldering. There's 2 wires to take off and 2 wires to put back on. So that's the second variety. Now in 2010, when I believe it's HIT changed the look of Thomas the Tank, when they went from real trains to computer generated graphics, they introduced a new variety of train. Now again, this train talks. The downside is it's LR54 batteries, which are watch type batteries, and they're extremely difficult not only to install but to remove as well. And again, they can corrode and damage your Thomas. Another downside to this train is they made solid plastic wheels which you can't replace. With the first 2 types, if your tyres or wheels became damaged, you could swap them with another train to repair your favourite train. Now with this you would need the exact same train to swap the exact same wheels. Now another downside is they are made from a durable plastic, but it's not as durable as the 2 versions I introduced you to earlier. Now obviously that's my opinion, you may have your own. Now they are also prone to damage on the soul bar. Another downside to this particular type of train, I've only ever seen about 9 of them. They may well have made more, but I've only seen 9. I've seen Thomas, James, Percy, Gordon. I've never seen Edward. They make Toby, they make Diesel 10, they make a couple of others, but I think there's only about 9 or 10 of them. Now if you want a massive collection, that is a real downside. Now also, they changed the voices of the characters to coincide with the TV series. So let's push Thomas's funnel in this case.
I'm a really useful engine. Bust my buffers.
Now they changed from Ringo Starr's voice to a child's voice.
Hello, I'm Thomas.
Now you may well think that that's that's a good thing because it's more interactive for children and they can associate with a child. But me personally, I prefer Ringo Starr voice any day of the week. Now that's the third type. Now the fourth type, this also answers the question of talking. Now these were made in 2016. Now they're under the name of Railway Pals. Now they're made from a durable plastic. However, where they're really prone is the connection, because you can get carriages for these, and the problem is the carriages can bend and twist on the connector, so they are prone to breaking here. But other than that, they're quite a durable train. Sadly, the wheels again are solid plastic, so to replace them you would need to have a train of the same type. Now the greatest advantage to these trains is they have loads and loads of phrases and sounds. Now they have a special track which operates the buttons below, or you can just press the buffer and they talk. Now I think
Let's find out, friends, on the track.
the batteries are the batteries are running low on this particular train. But they make about 14 phrases. Now a downside to these trains, they only made about 9 characters. Now they made some newer characters, but they didn't make all the old favourites. They definitely made Thomas, James, Percy. I don't believe they made Edward, Gordon or Henry, so if you like those trains, this is not for you. And then they made some newer characters, Charlie, Emily, they made Emily. But I believe there's only about 9 characters. But the greatest upside is they've got a lot more phrases. They introduce you to the ABC and to the numbers 1, 2, 3. They're a really nice train. They take 2 AAA batteries. But again, if you want a massive collection, these may not be for you. Now the last train I'd like to introduce you to is called Drive Away Thomas. Now sadly I don't have any batteries in Thomas, but I do have a video based purely upon Drive Away Thomas. Now they're made in the same time frame as the 2 original trains that I introduced you to between 1998 and 2010. They're made from the same durable plastic. Now they have a slight advantage. The sole bar is straight, so it's less likely to break, as opposed to the original Thomas. The sole bar is curved, therefore more inclined to break. Now these, the downside is they only made 4 characters. They made Spencer, Thomas, Percy and James. Now they are an absolute fantastic toy, and in my opinion these answer all of the questions. Now in my opinion these are my favourite of all the trains. Now the reason is you get an engine shed with the character's name on top. You put your train into the shed. You then drop your guard into the engine shed. He lands inside Thomas, and providing Thomas is working properly, Thomas will start to talk, then he'll stop, then he'll start to talk and stop, and then eventually he'll just drive away. And it's a really nice toy to have. The only problem is there's no button to make him talk, and I've bought so many of these and it's very hard to find one that is working properly. I bought probably 15 or 20 of these and I'm still to find a Thomas that works properly. Now, the downside to these 3 trains in the collection is some of them are 25 years old. Now, it's very hard to find a toy that's 25 years old and working perfectly. So when you do buy these trains, don't be surprised to find the odd one not working. Now, you can sell them on as non-working, or you can do what I do. I leave them outside my house and children come along and pick them up and take them away. Or you could be really good and give them to charity. But do expect to find trains that don't work in this range. Now, there's the trains that I've introduced you to today. Now, the advantages, I'm going to go back to the last 2. The advantages to these trains is this particular one was made in 2010, so they're only 13 years old, so they're more likely when you buy them for them to work. But they do have the same issue with the speaker because it's the identical speaker from the original Talking Thomas. Now, the massive advantage to these is they were made in 2016, so they're only 7 years old. So the advantage is you'll probably find the ones that you buy work. I've been extremely unlucky and I've bought one that didn't work. But I've had all 9 of them and one of 9 didn't work. Now, I wanted to answer the last question, and that is, did you want your trains to interact with each other? Now, I'm going to explain to you what is the difference between an interacting train and a standard train. Well, an interactive train, when you press the button, a little blue light emits from his buffer. Now, the human eye can't see that, but under camera you can see it. Now, a standard Talking Thomas, if he was to work, produces no blue light. Now, a standard Thomas and all of the trains in that range of about 20, they talk on their own. Now, the advantage of an interactive train, now this is Lady. Again, you can see Lady emitting a blue light. Now, the advantage to the interactive trains, although you have to have them face to face, when you press their buttons, not only do they talk, but they interact with each other. Now, I'm going to show you that now.
Hello, lady. Look at my shiny black paint.
Hello, Mavis. Look at my shiny gold paint.
Now, that's a really nice touch. So you press one of them.
I have lots of special friends.
I'm full of bright ideas, lady.
Now, you press one of them and it encourages the second one to respond. Now, I think that's really, really nice. The only downside is I believe they only made 10 of these. I've only got 9. I'm still trying to get the 10th one. I'm very tenacious, so I will eventually get the 10th one, but I've only got about 9. Now, the downside is if you put them side by side, they don't interact with each other.
Toby is teaching me to be a really useful engine.
Now, the reason is because the blue lights,
Look at my shiny gold paint.
the blue lights have to hit each other. Now, they will still talk on their own, so they're as good as the original, but the reason why they're better is when they're face to face, they will interact with each other.
I help move the cattle on.
Now, I hope this video was useful to you. and I hope it's answered or tried to answer the questions that you will have. But I'm just going to quickly sum up. The non-talking variety, there's at least 40 trains. They're very, very cheap to buy and they're readily available. The talking trains, there's about 20 of them. When you buy them, be prepared for some not working properly. So don't be disappointed. The drive along or drive away, there are only 4 of them. Be prepared for lots not working when you buy them. They won't work properly. I've bought so many. Now, only 9 made in 2016. You get a couple of special editions, but they are still the same 9 trains. I believe only 9 and not as durable as all of the other trains. The interactive trains, they only made 10 as far as I'm aware. Now, it doesn't really matter whether they're interactive or not, because they talk individually and they talk with each other if you have another interactive. So I hope this video was useful in answering any questions that you may or may not have. If you want to ask some more, please leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll respond to as many of you as possible. Well, thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe and please leave a like. And I hope to see you all again soon.